All right, welcome everyone. So please introduce yourself. You can use the chat. Where are you joining us from? Share any exciting work that you're doing with your chapters or you're doing in your community that you want to share with us. Or any recent activities that you're being involved. Have you ever lobbied before in DC? And I'm going to put these questions in the chat so you don't have to remember all of this. This is my email, Emily, for you. If you ever lobbied before, it could be with CCL or any other organization. And what brings you here tonight? So, and I am going to start. My name is Solem Hernandez. I am CCL Southeast Regional Director. My work is to support volunteers like you building political will, organizing to build political will for climate solutions. In Florida, I live in Naples, the traditional land of the Calusa tribe. I support volunteers organizing in Alabama, Georgia, we have three Georgia, we have someone from Alabama, North Carolina and South Carolina. So what is been exciting on my work lately? We just finished Earth Month with over 25,000 climate conversations. So round of applause of all of you who collaborated with that. And all of you who did it, you still are here and you're part of this movement. So thank you so much. I know I went with Jeff to a 2-day tabling event, and we had a lot of climate conversations there, right, Jeff? That was fun. Buddy. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was interesting too, let me tell you. So, have I lobbied before? Yes, with CCL, and I'm gonna tell you my story a little bit later on. And I put this event together because we're getting to have our summer conference and lobby day in June 8 to 11. So we want to mobilize as many people as possible from the Southeast region. Today, I am going to start with playing you our lobby conference song because we did a song last year. After that, I'm gonna play you a video of our government affairs team talking. She used to be a staffer at the Hill for many years. So she's gonna talk about the impact we have lobbying in DC. I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor. I'm gonna share my story, and I'm gonna open the floor for all of you who wants to share your story, how empowered have been, if it's been an awkward moment, whatever you want to share, your experience. And if you haven't been in the summer conference and lobby day, please feel free to ask questions to whoever is sharing right after. And I'm gonna finish with it's not a training, it's pretty much like give you some ideas, like if you have someone in your chapter that you wanna raise funds or get them to DC, I'm gonna give you some tips how you can do that. Also, these tips can be used to raise money for materials in your chapters. All right, so I'm gonna start. Oh my God. Okay, so I haven't shared. So I'm gonna start with our conference song last year. And this song was made by volunteers for volunteers. One of our volunteers, Dan Meyer, it was one of the volunteers, Dan Meyer, he's a climate musician. He's super talented. He got together in the game room with a whole bunch of other volunteers. They came out with some lyrics. In 2 days, we had a video of our lobby day with our primary ads and secondary ads. So let me go ahead and share. Enjoy. We have a little bit of commercials here, but
should we work out? Maybe.
These are all volunteers playing the piano, playing everything.
Using our voice, yeah, using our minds, saving the world by protecting the climate. Rising pollution is the way that we align. Market-based solution, get it going in no time. 'Cause heat waves, wildfires outside, our time is up. Hurricanes, no change today. We won't hide from it, 'cause we're gonna live, laugh, lobby. Live, laugh, lobby. CCL at the Omni, 1,000 people around me. This is a peaceful army, kinda feels like a family. Showing up for the climate, standing up for the earth. Trying to preserve the future that everybody deserves. We're making our voices heard, we don't sit on the side in silence now. Why does it seem like power's always trying to divide us, man? That's why I'm smiling when I reach across the aisle in kindness to unite behind the science. 'Cause heat waves, wildfires outside, our time is up. Hurricanes, no change today. We won't hide from it, 'cause we're gonna live, laugh, lobby. Come on, yeah. Live, laugh, lobby. So right now, my primary ask, the Carbon Fee and Dividend Act, which means we gradually price these unpriced externalities and make this a fair fight for renewable energy. But besides that, my second ask is to help us with permitting reform. Come on. 'Cause if we can act fast and rise to the task, then that's how we change the world. Come on, because heat waves, wildfires outside, our time is up. Hurricanes, no change today. We won't hide from it, 'cause we're gonna live, laugh, lobby. Gonna change the world. Live, laugh, lobby. Live, laugh, lobby. Let me get the claps in there, say. Live, laugh, lobby. One more time, one more time. Live, laugh, lobby.
So yeah, that was all of us. Really excited. That is really how it feels. It's like a big family. And I hope you get to join us sometimes, you know. We know that money, it could be a barrier. For me, it was when I came the first time. So that's why I'm going to give you some tips on how you can raise money. And we have the Southeast Regional Fund. Now I want to show you another video from our government affair director. And she, like I said before, she used to be a staffer for many years in DC. So this is what she said, that we have an impact whenever we do the work we do at the Hill. So, see.
I never would have imagined how much progress would be made in such a short period of time. I first came to know CCL when I was a legislative staffer in the House of Representatives, working for a Republican member of Congress. When I started working on the Hill, climate change was either being totally rebuffed by members of Congress or was quietly being mentioned as a distant and low priority. 8 years later, when I was ready to leave the Hill and join CCL, climate change was widely agreed upon by both parties in Congress. Having worked in an office that went from not even mentioning the words climate change to introducing bills to address it, I saw firsthand what the real driver of that change was, and it was grassroots advocacy. No climate study or report could change a member of Congress's beliefs the way real-life climate impacts can. I saw members shift their perspective on climate more in a 30-minute meeting with CCL volunteers than in months and months of hearings and briefings on the topic. CCL's respect-based approach was key in all of that. Equally important to meeting with members is the support that CCLers build in their local communities. Talking to people throughout the community, giving presentations, building support amongst businesses and local elected officials, all of that helps members of Congress know that they have the local support and allows them to not just talk the talk, but to walk the walk. Every action, from a lobby meeting to tabling at farmers markets, to writing LTEs. All of those actions have moved our communities, moved Congress, and moved our entire country forward on meaningful climate policy.
So any questions about the sun or the video I just played from Jennifer? Any comments?
Great. I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
The song is like mind-blowing. Like anyone who wants to know what it's like to be there, and also how did those people become so talented to just like write that song?
I know. We love Dave. He's one of our favorite volunteers. He was also performing in our Southeast conference. So yes, we have all kinds of volunteers with so many different backgrounds and, you know, knowledge and experience. So we're really blessed to do this work with the people we get to do it with. All right, so no questions. So, well, I'm gonna start with my story. So I started as a volunteer with CCL in 2017. And in 2018, I was just inspired by their mission of, getting people like me to have personal and political breakthrough. So, and for me, so in 2018, I got involved with the chapter. We did some lobbying here locally, but that was less intimidated. And I was with a professor from my university who was an expert. So I was like, I'm kosher here. But it's not the same as going as DC. And in 2018, when I won the scholarship, I was really excited. I was like, this is it. This is how I can make an impact. This is where the cookie crumbles. This is where all the laws are made. This is what democracy looks like. This is, I'm being part of that and have to influence us. So I was really excited. But when I went over there, I got there and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Super nervous for the meeting because my accent, the laws, carbon fee and dividend and everything that we were supporting, it was like so complicated for me. I didn't even have a college degree. And I was like, no, oh my God, this is going to be horrible, super nervous. But the reality was that I had a super awesome a lobby team. We always pair people that are experienced with people that are new. They were super supportive and super knowledgeable about the legislation. And they said, it doesn't matter if you don't know, these policies, which is the thing that I was more nervous about. I'm like, oh my God, I can't understand this so much. It's such a little time. I need more. And, they were so supportive and they told me like, no, it's just your climate story. And as a constituent, they need to listen to you on how this issue is affecting you. And that's what is really important, that they need to add, because you as a constituent and your community, that you're representative, because not many people can make it here. You are the voice of the people who live around you, the people, who I live in Naples, Florida, where we had Irma in 2017, and we had Hurricane Ian, one of the most costly hurricane here in Florida in 2022. So, I am the voice of that community. I felt like I was. So I was there, everything went great. You have different roles. I figure out my favorite role, which is the appreciation. We open our lobby meetings always with an appreciation that we have for the member of Congress. It doesn't have to be in climate change. My appreciation was about the temporary work permit. He worked with another Democrat. He's a Republican. He worked with Democrat to get the temporary work permit for Venezuelans. My mom is living with me 4 years ago, and she now can drive and help me out driving the kids around thanks to that, because she can get a driver's license. And my member of Congress, when I opened the meeting with that appreciation, he was like puffing up, like, wow, yes, I work on this. And he was so proud about it, and it really changed the conversation. So when I was there too, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about how government works. I decided to go back to school to study political science. I graduated in 2022 and I became part of CCL staff in 2019, and I'm super passionate about this, and now I can do this full time. And some friends call me like I'm a hyperactivist because I'm always doing a lot of stuff. But it's my way to, I see the world how it is right now, and I see what kind of future my kids are gonna have if I am struggling myself right now. I mean, what is for them with all the climate impacts that are gonna keep coming even stronger. So, I this is like my antidote to despair, action, at least I'm doing something. And when I'm doing something, I feel that when I come to this conference, you feel like you're not doing it by yourself, you're doing it with a whole bunch of people that are super smart, that when you talk to them and the work they're doing in the community, you get optimistic and you feel like you're not alone doing this, and that even if you don't trust in government, you trust in the people that is around you doing this work with you, and it's super inspiring and transformational and empowering. So that's a little bit about my story. So I don't know, anybody have any questions or? Who else wants to share your story? You want to share your story, Jeff? Or Riva, have you ever
Sure,
been, or anybody wants to share?
sure, I'll talk. You can't shut me up once I get started, so you have to pause me. No,
Introduce yourself, Jeff, because I don't know that many people know you here. So.
I just wanted to share a story about when I was in Washington, D.C. For a lobby day. It was my first or second lobby day. I've been there, I don't know, 4 times, I think. And I was in the cafeteria, and it was really cool because you look around and you see everybody with the CCL lanyards. And we're like half of the people in the cafeteria are CCL people at lunchtime. And so I got my lunch and I'm looking around for a place to sit, and the tables were pretty full. So I asked this young lady if I could join her at her table, and she said, yeah. She's sitting there with a teenage girl. I found out that it was her daughter, uh, preteen, really. And um, so we introduced each other, and she's, just a modest person. She's talking to me, and she tells me she's Canadian, and she's been working with the Prime Minister in Canada and his cabinet to pass a carbon fee dividend. Her name is Kathy Orlando, which, of course, me being in Orlando now, it's easy for me to remember. And I was like impressed, but if I would have understood the magnitude of what she was doing, I would have been like floored. And I remember a year or two later, I'm sitting in a meeting in a small group, and she walks in and introduces herself, and I say to everybody, I say, we got a superstar in the room here. Do you know who this is? And I told everybody what she did. And, if you look at what's happening in Canada and a lot of other countries, but, Canada's our neighbor, um, they followed the CCL model of carbon fee and dividend, and they're still at it. And it's really interesting because at our tabling event that you were just mentioning that we had a week or two ago, I ran into a guy from Canada, and I asked him, I said, how's it going up there? How's the carbon fee policy? And he's like, he shakes his head and he says, I don't know. He says, I just can't, it's and he's just mumbling. And I'm like, well, do you get the money back? Do you, you know, that you come out ahead? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know. So um, it kind of verified what I read. And one of the things we want to keep in mind, um, couple of years ago, I read an in-depth article on the carbon fee in Canada, and they said they didn't publicize the cash back enough. And it was around that time we started calling it a cash back carbon fee. So anyway, it's a great lesson, little story about lobbying in Washington.
Wow.
Anybody got questions for Jeff? Do you know what carbon fee and dividend is? Or anybody don't know? I mean, it's not an easy policy to understand. We're being in CCL forever, and for us, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, our daily bread. But so for all
Well,
of them, I
guess
know.
from what
Go
I
ahead.
understand, from what I understand, our founder, Marshall Saunders, that was one of the main reasons why he started the group, so that would be the ultimate goal for the carbon dividend. But that's a very interesting story, Jeff, as you said that you met this lady at the in Washington, and she's she had just went in telling you that she had been working with the president. It was it Prime Minister Macron in office? Is that who it was?
No, this was in Canada. It was what is his name?
Trudeau. I'm a big fan.
Trudeau, yeah. Yeah, he's been
Oh,
in office
okay.
for, I think he was reelected actually.
So is he in favor of it?
Yes,
in
he
favor?
is the one that kind of made it happen.
Wow.
And there was a lot of
Wow.
pushback. There still is a lot of pushback.
Wow, that's really something. I mean, they've had a prime minister that's really, on board with that. That's really that's very encouraging. Um, but that was
Yeah,
my question on that. As far as the DC conference goes, I just wanted to share the story that it would be great to get in with people from all across the spectrum in CCL and have that camaraderie with people from all over who shares the same like mind that I share in climate change. And then being able to talk to people, and I can get ideas on them, showing me how I can become a better person at a at introducing myself as a grassroots lobbyer in my community where I live. I live in Georgia, so I'm in Valdosta, which is in the southwest part of Georgia. It's in the southwest quadrant, sort of like in the middle, right? And so this area is primarily it's more Republican based, and so they attack agriculture here, but it's more like you can't really you got to kind of you can't just go in and say climate change. You got to kind of say cleaner energy or something like that, but not taking away, being like someone being a threat to take away their business, because sometimes this talk about climate here could make people think that, that we're trying to push away the business, the manufacturer coming in here and all of that. So that's it would be good to be in Washington just to meet people who are in areas like I am, where I can get more of a understanding on how to approach it.
Wanda?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wanda, do you know about the factories that are being built in I think Dalton? They have a huge battery factory being built, and they're also manufacturing electric school buses in Georgia. There's a Bluebird factory there that's manufacturing electric school buses. There is a lot of manufacturing. Those are just two right off the top. There's a solar manufacturer that's an huge international company. It's based out of Korea. So that's three factories that I know of that is bringing many hundreds, maybe thousands of jobs to Georgia. If you talk to people about that, they might open up their ears.
Yeah, and you said that's in Dalton, Georgia?
One of them I was reading about today is in Dalton, Georgia.
Okay. That sounds very interesting. That sounds very interesting. Thank you for that information.
I think Bluebird is in Fort Valley, down closer to Valdosta.
Oh, really? Uh-huh. Well, we have the Moody Air Force Base here in Valdosta. Um, we have that here. That's right here in our county area. I'm not originally from Georgia. I'm a native of South Florida. And
Oh, what
so
part?
yeah, and so I had
What
met
part, Wanda?
I'm from Miami, and I recall when you had joined CCL back in 2019, because I had joined back around that time, and you had just sent out some information about local meetups there in Miami-Dade County. But I never, I wasn't going out to any. But I remember when you first came on, you sent out an email to me. But yeah, I'm from Miami-Dade County, so I've been, kind of like used to the climate stuff here with the hurricanes and everything. So it's more real here. It's more real to a Floridian than it is to a Georgian, a native Georgian, because we're right down there by everything that's happening.
Yeah.
We're more impacted by it, is what I want to say, from a certain standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, but we trained you, one that we trained you. We have we got, like Lisa put on the chat, that we have an action team that is all in agriculture, and we train you how to speak to your member of Congress. If the member of Congress is more in a rural area and care more about agriculture, so, that's the whole idea. We plan our lobby meeting in a strategic way. So in order to find common ground. And I am another member of Congress locally here that he's just far right, like no climate change or anything. I found common ground with him because he's all pro-nuclear, and nuclear is clean energy. So we're educating ourselves with the new technology. We have a nuclear action team, and we have another cool event coming up about all the new technologies that are coming out with nuclear energy. And whatever. And what I tell everybody, even if there's nothing, they live in the districts they represent, and they should, it's their duty to care what their constituents are going through and their issues and concerns. So if everything fails, but so, and yeah, so did you connect it with the people in your chapter, Wanda? Try to connect and see, because
Well,
we did have
connected.
scholarships, but they're closed right now.
I'm connected with the Atlanta chapter, and so, like I said, they're like about 3 hours to 4 hours from where I live, and like I'm actually closer to the Tallahassee CCL chapter. However, because I live in Georgia, we don't have nothing in common with it at the federal and the state level when we're writing op-eds and things like that. So that's the reason why I'm connected to the Atlanta chapter, because of that reason.
I see.
Yes.
Let's see. So you are in district. Okay, we can talk. Let me send you, and we had scholarships, but now we don't have anymore. But, we do this every year, and we do it virtually too. And every time we can just, continue to. Go
Yes,
ahead.
the scholarships that we had have been sent out, but there's still 4 or 5 weeks. There, with these fundraisers, there may still be more money
Oh,
coming in.
yeah, that's true. We still have a fundraising. Let me share it. Can you share it in the chat, Lisa? Or I don't have any handy here. Yeah, we're still raising. We're still fundraising. We're still fundraising for our Southeast, and yeah, we can consider you. I mean, could you put that in the chat,
Bob
Lisa?
did tell me about you all. That's our chapter president in Atlanta. He did, mention, about the scholarship to me. He did mention it, but like I said, he had just said it might, he didn't say anything. He just did email me about it, when I asked him about it at a chapter meeting. So like I said, I've never been there. It would be something new for me. I don't know if I'm really ready, because I'm not really like totally, I don't want to make this an excuse, but I'm not really like totally mobile. I am mobile, but I'm not such a fast walker.
Oh,
You know
don't
what I
worry
mean?
about that.
Yeah.
We lobby with, I lobby, there was I lobby with someone in wheelchair. So we work with you and we make accommodations whenever I put in the chat the GoFundMe. Whenever you go, if you let me know, I can accommodate anything you may need. So yeah, I keep the communication very close with the attendees in the Southeast, and whatever are your requirements, I work with everyone. So, all right,
That's the
anybody wants to share?
GoFundMe.
That's the GoFundMe. So we're still raising money. We gave some money already to some of the volunteers that are doing the work in their chapters and wanted to come and they didn't have the opportunity to go. So but we still, like, we haven't finished the fundraising. I'm gonna try the registration close. So if we get $500 more, we get something more, I'll be glad to help you out to make it over there. And we have a sharing room, which,
Thank you.
yeah, because people that's what we want to do. We want to get people there. This time we didn't put a scholarship out there because we have people that are working in their chapters and they want to go, but they're students or like myself, single mom. There's nobody single mom that we're taking, but I'm just putting that as an example, but so that's how we want to distribute it. But if we get more, I mean, share that, and if we get a little more, we'd be more than glad to help you out. Let me put my email in the chat too. I think I put it before in there. Anybody else wants to share one more story? I think we had chance for one more short one.
I'm a recent member of CCL down in Miami. I attended the Aspen Climate Conference they had over in Miami Beach a few weeks ago, and Jennifer was there. And I got to hear her presentation in a breakout session. And of course, she was very inspiring to hear her story. And a couple other people that were presenting with her. But I was very impressed with CCL's core objectives, their nonpartisan basis. And I'm semi-retired and I've been looking for some way to plug in. So I decided I'd give this a try, and it's been very positive so far in the short weeks I've been there. They seem to have a very good support base and a lot of good, helpful things that they have online. And everybody who I've met so far has been extremely helpful. I will be going up for the first lobbying event in June. So looking forward to do that. And hopefully meeting with our representative, Maria Salazar, and try to push the agenda forward and see how it's done.
Oh, we're so happy to have you, Jack. I was there in the Aspen Ideas. I'm so glad. Wasn't that the best panel of all of them? And we had such a little room. We couldn't even record it, but it was just so empowering, wasn't it? I love it.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing.
That's awesome. So glad. I've been trying to get CCL in the Aspen Ideas since the first time they had it. And finally this year we got CCL in there because everybody, here are the solutions, but we need to build political will. I'm like, we do that in CCL. Where is CCL? They need to have a panel here. So finally this year we did it.
That's a good place to be.
Cool,
Jack, who else is going from Miami?
I haven't met everybody yet. I presume Kelly's going, I'm thinking. And one other young lady who's that I haven't met yet is signed up. So I only know the three of us so far.
Have you met Greg and John yet?
I met John at the table over at the University of Miami about a week ago.
Oh,
nice.
John.
We hit it off immediately. He's a very personable guy. And we're both big Tesla fans, so he's even more than I am.
Yeah, he usually goes. I haven't spoken to him though.
He doesn't know if he's having issues with his hip or leg, So he
okay.
was uncertain about getting a procedure, and he may or may not go, but he hadn't said anything, so I'm thinking he won't know. He said he wouldn't know till the last minute anyway.
Oh, God, we love John. He's amazing. All right, so I'm just gonna go to the last thing, which is our tips. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And this is also to give you some ideas for fundraising and also to show you some pictures of my lobby meetings. So I'm just gonna talk real quick about some general considerations about fundraising, ideas for conference scholarships, and fundraising for any materials you need for your chapters. These can be used interchangeably. Here, let me stop sharing this real quick because I'm supposed to be in the other screen. There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm not sharing anymore. Sorry about this. No, this is not it. Maybe I want to share my first screen. Here we go. All right. So a little bit how to manage your money and some resources we had in CCL, and if we have time, we're gonna do a Q&A. So I want to share this picture. This was last year. We had a meeting, if you see in the bottom picture, with the Legislative Council for one of our local members of Congress here, which I know. And as we're here, the member of Congress walks in. So if you're gonna go to DC, that can happen anytime. So we had to look at that. That's something really cool. And we took a picture with him. We had the opportunity. I knew him, but other volunteers didn't knew him personally. This is our leader for the nuclear action team. And we had the legislative council from this member of Congress talking to our nuclear action team about the amendment process and how they have put amendments to advance nuclear energy. So that was pretty cool. Jeff, here are you. Remember this? So general considerations, you know, this quick training purpose is just to give you some ideas so you can mobilize volunteer for the summer conference and lobby day. This is completely independent of Citizens Climate Lobby and Citizens Climate Education fundraising. This is all completely, this is you organizing with your chapter, is volunteer-led. The fundraising and the funds are distributed by the volunteers who are organizing. If you wanna get to start fundraising for taking, help a volunteer make it to DC, consider that the registration is coming up pretty soon. So you want to do something easy. You don't want to give more than $500 to a volunteer because then you have to fill up a tax form and giving, you know, $500 for each of them. Keep the donor transparency, like communicate, oh, we're taking, for example, what we're doing, I'm doing a spotlight where I'm gonna share in social media, this is the wonderful people you're helping to go to DC, this is all the work they do, and thank you so much. And talk about the volunteer impact, which is what I was saying before. Also, if you're gonna be asking for funds to take volunteers to DC, these tax are, again, nothing to do with CCL or Citizens Climate Education and are not tax deductible. So some ideas for scholarships or to help volunteers get to DC, you can give the volunteer that you want to go to DC your hotels or airline points to help them with the transformation or lodging. You can do fundraising events. potlucks or something like that, remember that these are not tax exempt. I'm gonna put in the chat after I finish sharing my screen. Or Lisa, if you can put it on, if you want more information about how to handle your chapter money and how to do fundraising, there's a complete training where I got most of this information from, but it's more in depth. So if you want to learn a little bit more, we're gonna put it on the chat later. You can do crowdfunding platforms. Like I said, I am doing one for the Southeast, a GoFundMe. You don't want to list CCL, you don't want to list Citizens Climate Education, and they take a percentage of that. So I have like 888, and I know they gave me like 850. They took like $20 or something like that. And okay, so, and then with this GoFundMe platform, your GoFundMe, you can go ahead and share it in social media so people can donate through that or share it via email. When you send email, make sure you don't send an email, a mass email to a whole bunch of people, because you can get your email, your email locked. So if you're a chapter leader, or you can tell a chapter leader to send it through the roster. And there is a conference room sharing forum that I'm gonna put to the link in the chat here. A lot of volunteers are planning and looking for roommates. So I was just in community right now, and there's a lot of activity in that forum. So I'm gonna put all those links in the chat once I finish sharing. So these are gonna, if you're gonna raise money, you of course wanna identify the needs of your chapter. Change that mindset from money is a barrier to raising funds as possible. And then clarify your needs. We want to support somebody to go to DC with the conference. We want to buy new tabling materials. Talk about the commitment and specifications. We need 300 in travel, 500 for table supplies, for example. When you design your fundraising approach, you want to determine the total funds you're going to need and create a strategy to decide who you're going to ask. You can email your entire roster. How are you going to collect the money? You could collect the money via Venmo. I open a personal account that I have separately just for fundraising each year, just because it's easy. You don't want to be setting up tax ID or anything like that. You want to make it as easy as possible for you. And remember, like, if you want to work in this type of fundraisings, you really want to take someone from your chapter that is involved, that, that really want to be there and deserve to be there because the work they're doing in their chapters, but money is a barrier. So, and that makes it easy to distribute the funds and everything else. So in reimbursement, expenses, try to make it easy. I do, sale. I can do Venmo. I can do a check, worst case scenario. So if you might say who you want to ask. You can ask by sending a VCC email for privacy when you ask. Craft something compelling in the title and be clear about what you need and how people can help. Provide information about how to make the donation and make it as easy as possible. Then after you send an email, you do want to acknowledge the people who made donations. When you do it through GoFundMe, you have something that tells you there was a donation, and you can click and send a thank you note. You want to track the money, of course, and I'm going to give you something where a spreadsheet that you can use to track the scholarship, the money that comes in and out. And then close the campaign. If you already got all the money that you wanted to fundraise, to take the people you wanted to take to DC, just let people know, hey, we we met our goal. So we have in CCL so many resources. This fundraising and accounting book, it's a Google spreadsheet that whenever you click on it, again, I'm going to put it in the chat. Lisa, if you can put it in the chat, that would be great. But when you get to this Google spreadsheet, you go to the file, make a copy, and create your own, and that way you can check registers, expenses detail, income detail. You have an income detail sheet. Remember to record all the money that comes out and comes in. Just make sure that this is up to you. Like I said, I'm giving the money to people that I trust. What I have been doing, just be clear of how you're gonna do everything. I think communication, it's the most important thing. Even if there's communication, we can always overcome the challenges. The way I'm doing this, like I said, I'm just giving them the $500 and they figure out their ticket and the transport and the lodging. So, and it's people that I trust, that I know that they want to be there. You can, and just be flexible on the reimbursement with people. Try to make it as easy as possible. All right, so we have time for questions. And let me put all the things in the chat that I didn't put. Any questions?
Is that the maximum amount you don't use? The maximum amount that you donate is $500 for a trip?
Yeah, I give the maximum I give per person is $500, because after $500, then I have to fill up a form, a tax form. I think it's, I don't remember the number of the tax, but it gets more complicated.
You give the money directly to the person?
Mm-hmm. And the people that, for example, one of the volunteers that is coming is Jeff Helper in Orlando. She's amazing. She opened, she's trying to, I mean, it's kind of hard, but she organized no matter, but she have a campus chapter in University of Central Florida. And she's been just great. And we just, send it. What I did with her was sell. That's what I did.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's people that I trust. That's been easier. Last year I did an application. But this year we decided that we wanted just to bring the people that had been doing the work that wanted to be there.
Right, they've been doing it. So you don't ever prepay anything, like you prepay for them the hotel or prepay for them the transportation?
No.
Like,
so I give them, they figure out. I give it to them, and they figure out. So I just give the money directly.
Can I add to this?
Sure.
Salami?
Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
Well, and I just want to make it clear that Salami was gathering the money into the GoFundMe, which is where she ended up with, the situation that she's talking about. But I know people that have gone to DC with all kinds of different ways of gathering gifts in different fashions. Like she said, some people are have a hotel room and they let someone else stay with them for free. Or people, like she said, people have maybe some airline miles or something where they can share with somebody. When I went to DC for the first time, a bunch of people in my chapter just pulled out 20s and stuff and were all just chipping in to try to help me with my travel and transportation costs and everything. So there's probably a million different ways that these things can be done. And if people know that somebody's trying and has a financial need, people step up. I mean, there's always people, even like last minute, sometimes in DC, that are sharing their rooms. So you never, if you want to go and you're trying to figure out a way, reach out to chapter leaders, state coordinators, regional coordinators, and we usually
Henry,
find
yeah.
we usually find a way.
Yeah, let me give you on the chat, Wanda, let me give you Henry and Terry's email. They're both the state coordinators. Henry.
Well, like I said, I don't know, I may be able to do it next time, you know. It's just to kind of get an idea of how this goes, you know. But then it's also good to help fundraise for other people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, feel free to share the GoFundMe to Terry. Here is Terry. So I'm gonna put their emails. They're wonderful, both of our state coordinators over there, to reach out to them. They can plug you writing. They are amazing, both of them.
Okay.
So did you get the links in the chat, Lisa, or no? Do I have to put them in there?
CommunityCitizensClimate.org.
Oh yeah, she did. Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you, Lisa. And here's one for, I don't know that anybody's gonna, are you guys gonna need like the spreadsheet or anything else?
Well, if you can put the link for the training, I didn't have that. The main training that probably has some of the other links within
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, let me look for that. Page.
Oh, okay. I see it. Raising funds.
So how many people here are planning on going to DC?
Well, I haven't planned on going to DC this time. I just I didn't, but I was just trying to find out, like, I know it's such a high end thing, how did it would go if someone, had needed, funding to go or something.
Lauren, you have your hand up, and sorry, I was looking for the links in here. Go ahead.
Only just to say I'm going. I'll see you there.
Oh,
Cool. Did you have your climate story? Share it. We don't even have 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She is, well, by the way, Lauren, we all started as volunteers, regional coordinators, and she's just recently a regional coordinator, but she was a volunteer until just recently.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like 5 weeks into working with Solemi as one of the regional coordinators. I help with the Mountain West region. And so it's like a part-time job. And, my degree is in environmental studies. I come from Montana, where, you just step into that nature, much like being on the beach in South Florida. When you go on that beach and you see the nature all around you, you just can't help but feel a deep impact. And so I've known about this problem for a long time, but I got a little distracted with kiteboarding in the Dominican Republic for 20 years. And then when COVID hit, I went home to Montana, and that's when I found CCL. And I immediately thought, this organization is so cool. The solution, carbon fee and dividend, is so good. And I met all the volunteers. I loved them. And so, yeah, fast forward 3 years later, I've done virtual lobbying, and I've actually done some in-district lobbying, which I've seen like transformation of volunteers in a very rural, very conservative district in Eastern Montana. And, these volunteers, when we went to visit their chapter, they did not want to meet with a member of Congress. Like, they just thought, like, this guy and we'd have nothing, to do together. And then we kind of had a party with them. We did a potluck at the chapter house. We got them excited. They came, we did a quick little lobby training with them in the morning. And they walked out of that meeting with that staff member feeling completely different and like very uplifted as to how they could connect about ag. And so that's the real amazing power. Thank you for letting me share my story, and also to come to this great event. I love this. I love Florida, and I love the Southeast. So it's really nice to be here with you.
Thank you, Lauren, for coming. And I think we have you know, a small attendance because I sent an email, like personally email to like 1,000 people and I got locked. My email got locked. So I don't know that many people got the invitation. So all right. So if we don't have any more questions, I mean, I don't have anything else for you. Anybody have closing thoughts, questions? All right. I take the silence as no questions, no comments, and super happy to have you, all of you here. Thank you. Looking forward to see the ones that are gonna be this June conference in DC and lobby together. And Wanda next year, and Riva, so nice to see you.
Yes.
And Olivard, everybody, Emily. So good
Bye,
to see
everybody.
everyone. We're like a big family. Love you and see you
Washington.
soon. You're gonna love it, Jackie. Go ahead, Jack.
Bye, Chloe. Good luck. Bye, y'all.
Take care.
Thank you. Good Zoom.
Bye. Take care.
Yep.
See you soon. We're planning a stay next year, maybe a state legislator lobby meeting. So let me know, Riva, in Alabama.
Let's
That's
see.
cool. All right, everyone. Take care. Big hug.
Yes.